This is Mamuni. Thank you so much for being Amar Baba Ma.
Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In an age of digital transactions, many of us still prefer keeping cash at home for emergencies or convenience, right? But the recent Delhi cash scandal have led many people to wonder how much cash can you keep at home legally? Is possessing a huge sums of cash considered a crime in India? Can an individual go to jail for possessing a heavy amount of cash at home? What is the permissible limit of cash that you can keep at home? No worries. In this video, I am going to address all your queries in simple language. So, let's take a closer look at the cash limit at home. So, let's get started. So, the question is, how much cash can you legally keep at home to avoid income tax problems or to stay clear of taxman? In other words, how much cash can you legally keep at home in order to avoid income tax rates? Now, let me answer your question. The Income Tax Act does not specify a limit or fixed limit on the amount of cash an individual can keep at home, as long as the money is from legitimate, documented sources and if reported in your income tax returns, that is ITR, and financial records, there is no restriction on the amount. But failing to provide a legitimate source can lead to severe tax penalties. So, if large sums of cash stored at home is found to be undisclosed or unexplained or unaccounted, it can be taxed up to 137% under current laws. In such cases, under Section 132 of the Income Tax Act, the authorities also have the power to seize the entire amount because this is black money. What is black money? Black money is cash earned illegally on which income tax or other taxes have not been paid, and an income tax rate which is technically known as the process of search and seizure is one of the crucial weapons that the income tax department possesses to check black money. Understood? So, what is the penalty for unexplained cash or unaccounted cash or an illegal cash? Now, let's understand 137% income tax penalty. The Income Tax Act of India mandates that any cash found at home during income tax raids or investigations must be legally accounted for. But if an individual fails to provide a legitimate source, that is, unexplained cash or unaccounted cash, the following penalties apply under Section 69A. In other words, he or she shall pay 60% tax on unexplained cash under Section 115 BBE of the income tax plus 25% surcharge on the 60% tax plus 4% cess, that is health and education cess, of the total amount. Let me explain this with the help of an example for better understanding. Example 1. Suppose Mr. X has rupees 12 lakhs in cash at home, but he cannot prove its legal source. The penalty would be calculated as follows. Tax at the rate of 60% on rupees 12 lakhs is equal to 12 lakh into 60%, which is equal to rupees 7 lakhs 20,000, plus surcharge at the rate of 25% of rupees 7 lakhs 20,000, which is equal to rupees 7 lakhs 20,000 into 25% is equal to rupees 1 lakh 80,000, plus cess at the rate of 4% of rupees 7 lakhs 20,000 plus rupees 1 lakh 80,000 is equal to rupees 9 lakhs into 4%, which is equal to rupees 36,000. So, the total tax liability of Mr. X is equal to rupees 7 lakhs 20,000 plus rupees 1 lakh 80,000 plus rupees 36,000, which is equal to rupees 9 lakhs 36,000. This means Mr. X could end up paying rupees 9 lakhs 36,000 in taxes on rupees 12 lakhs of unaccounted or unexplained cash, a 137% penalty on the original amount. To prevent tax evasion, the Government of India has imposed strict cash transaction limits in India. So, let's know the new income tax rules. Number 1. Section 69A. Any unexplained or unaccounted or undisclosed cash discovered during tax audits or income tax rates is treated as income attracting a 60% tax along with a 25% surcharge and a 4% cess. Number 2. Section 269 ST. Here is a breakdown of the rule as per Section 269 ST of the Income Tax Act. No person shall receive an amount of rupees 2 lakhs or more than rupees 2 lakhs in cash in the following situations. A. In aggregate from a single person in a single day. B. In respect of a single transaction. C. In respect of transactions relating to one event or occasion from a single person. Points to be noted. A. This rule applies to the receiver of the cash, not the payer. B. The penalty for violating Section 269 ST is a sum equal to 100% of the amount received in cash. C. The prohibition covers the aggregate in a single day, even if it's through multiple transactions from the same person. It also applies to a single transaction exceeding rupees 2 lakhs or multiple transactions related to a single event or occasion exceeding this limit from one person. But there are certain exceptions to this rule, including A. Receipts from government. B. Receipts from any banking company, post office, savings bank or cooperative bank. C. Transactions of the nature specified in Section 269 SS related to acceptance of loans or deposits. D. other persons or class of persons that the government may notify. So, though there are some exceptions to this rule, but generally receiving rupees 2 lakhs or more than rupees 2 lakhs in cash in the situations mentioned above is prohibited under the Income Tax Act in India. Number 3. Section 269 SS. Section 269 SS of the Income Tax Act prohibits any individual from accepting any deposits, loans, or advances exceeding rupees 20,000 or more than rupees 20,000 in cash from another person. Violating this limit attracts a penalty under Section 271D equal to the cash accepted. But there are certain exceptions to this rule, including A. Transactions involving the government, B. Transactions involving banks, C. Transactions involving notified institutions. Number 4. Section 269T. Section 269T prohibits any individual from repaying any advances or loans in cash above rupees 20,000. Violating this limit attracts a penalty under Section 271E equal to the amount repaid in cash. But there are certain exceptions to this rule, including A. Repayments to government, B. Repayments to banks, C. Repayments to notified institutions. So, Section 269 SS deals with accepting loans, whereas Section 269T deals with repayment of loans. So, these provisions restrict accepting or repaying loans and deposits of rupees 20,000 or more than rupees 20,000 in cash to curb black money. Let me explain this with the help of an example for better understanding. Example 2. Suppose if you lend rupees 40,000 to your friend in cash, it is a loan covered under Section 269 SS. And if you repay rupees 45,000 to your friend in cash, it is a repayment of the loan covered under Section 269T. How can you prove that your cash money is legal? Well, you can prove that your cash money is legal by maintaining proper documentation. Number 1. Always keep receipts, bank withdrawal slips, income proofs, and transaction records. Number 2. Maintain a ledger for business transactions. Number 3. Avoid high value cash transactions, because high value cash transactions may attract income tax notice or income tax rates. So, be aware of cash deposit limit in bank to avoid income tax notice, and be aware of cash limit at home to avoid income tax rates. Number 4. Use banking channels for large transactions such as checks, NEFT, RTGS, UPI, or digital transfers for payments, because digital payments ensure transparency and prevent unnecessary scrutiny and prevent penalties. Number 5. File an income tax return, that is ITR. Please note, it is not mandatory for everyone to file an ITR, but individuals such as salaried employees, business class, professionals, pensioners, YouTubers, freelancers, etc., whose total income in a year exceeds the basic exemption limit must file an ITR irrespective of a tax liability or not. Please note, under the old tax regime, the basic exemption limit is determined by age. For individuals below 60 years, it remains at rupees 2,50,000 or 2.5 lakhs. Senior citizens aged 60 to 79 years have an exemption limit of rupees 3 lakhs, while super senior citizens aged 80 years and above benefit from a higher limit of rupees 5 lakhs. This is applicable for financial year 2025-26 and assessment year 2026-27. The budget 2025 increased the basic exemption limit from rupees 3 lakhs to rupees 4 lakhs under the new tax regime benefiting all taxpayers of India. In the Union Budget 2025, Financial Minister Nirmala Sitharaman announced zero tax or nil tax or 12 lakh no tax or no tax on 12 lakh for non-salaried taxpayers and no tax till rupees 12.75 or rupees 12 lakhs 75,000 for salaried taxpayers and pensioners due to increased standard deduction from rupees 50,000 to rupees 75,000 under the new tax regime, but the old tax regime remains the same. The tax rebate under section 87A for taxpayers filing tax returns under the new tax regime was increased to rupees 60,000 from rupees 25,000, thereby eliminating the entire amount of rupees 60,000, making the final tax payable zero. The tax rebate under section 87A for taxpayers opting for the old tax regime remains the same, that is rupees 12,500. But tax rebate under section 87A of rupees 60,000 is not applicable for income taxed at special rates such as capital gains, that is long-term capital gains, short-term capital gains, etc. Marginal relief calculation or marginal relief benefit on tax rebate is still applicable for both the regimes. And if you fail to furnish your ITR and your income tax liability is more than the basic exemption limit, you shall be punishable with rigorous imprisonment of minimum 6 months up to 7 years and with a fine. Moreover, if you want to claim the tax refund or income tax refund, the tax refund will only be initiated if the tax return has been furnished by the taxpayer, that is you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your precious time. I sincerely hope this was helpful.